Go. All right. That's comfortable enough. That might take a minute for me to get used to the glasses, but yeah. Alrighty. Might end up wanting to sit a little further from the screen than I am. What all? Oh, that's gonna get taken used to. Mm. Also, gotta remember they're reflective. So if I have anything on my screen that I don't want on my screen, I gotta be careful about that. Alright. I'm gonna start this sentence over again.
Opening. The tips of the cherry tomato seedlings were gradually opening.
And we're back to a little bit more
they would
7
have
days.
leaves.
Just got
How
my
much
new
time had
glasses.
passed? Gurgle. The
Uh,
sound of the rabbit sleeping
Getting
could be
used
heard
to
next
them
to
is
him.
gonna take a little minute,
It seemed
but
sleepy now that its stomach was
otherwise,
full.
should be
Its
fine.
soft snoring was quite cute. At that moment, squeak, feeling Sijuan's gaze, the rabbit woke up with a start. Shake. The rabbit shook
No, I
its
didn't
head
want
to
to
get rid of its
exceed.
sleepiness. And then, squeak. It jumped with a powerful cry. Flick. The rabbit held a scallion in one hand and easily climbed back up to the hole. Squeak. Before leaving, the rabbit bowed its head to Sijuan in gratitude. You just eat and run away. Although it was ungrateful, Sijuan waved goodbye. It was a brief encounter, but it was pleasant. While Sijuan waved, the rabbit laughed. Even though it was only for a moment, it felt empty. Sijuan left the emptiness behind and looked back at the cherry tomato seedlings. In the meantime, the seedlings had gathered strength and spread their leaves even wider. Grow up, guys. A little later. Why? As if knowing Sijuan was waiting, the cherry tomato seedlings began to unfold one by one, revealing two bright green leaves each. The sight of the delicate but vibrant leaves emerging was quite wondrous. Feed. Feed. May 15th, 10 p.m. The alarm to announce the evening rang. However, he didn't want to sleep tonight. He wanted to keep watching the seedlings grow and then fall asleep. Splat. Splat. Sijuan woke up to the feeling of something lightly hitting his cheek. Huh? What is it? When he opened his eyes, the rabbit that had run away yesterday was slapping his cheek with its paw to wake him up. What time is it? Sijuan checked the time. May 16th, 5 a.m. It was an hour earlier than his usual waking time. But what's with your outfit? The rabbit wore a straw hat with holes for its ears to stick out and held a watering can in its hand. At that moment, squeak. Another
I wonder
rabbit's
if I
cry
can
was
get like
heard.
anti-glare,
Huh?
get my screen
Sijuan looked towards
a
the sound,
glare
and there was another slender
thing
rabbit
so
wearing
that
an
it
apron.
doesn't just
And then,
reflect
nods.
off my
The
glasses.
rabbit that made eye contact with Sijuan politely greeted him. What's going on here? Day 7 of being lost. Sijuan woke up a little early, and a rabbit couple had joined the cave.
Ooh,
Visit and read
Nice.
more novel to help us update chapter quickly. Thank you so much. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Report chapter. Sijuan quickly sensed the pink atmosphere flowing between the two. Are you two a couple?
Apparently, I'm thirsty.
Squeak. Squeak. They both nodded at the same time. Damn. Being caught between a rabbit couple. He once had no friends with matching free time in college, so he had to eat with a couple. It was awkward, but he couldn't eat alone for a whole semester, so he joined them. One day, while eating together, a sudden tension arose between the couple, leading to a heated argument. Sijuan felt very uncomfortable while being stuck between them. And then I acquired the skill to eat by myself. After that, he vowed never to eat with a couple again. Squeak, squeak. Feeling Sijuan's strange move, the husband rabbit rubbed his face against Sijuan's hand, trying desperately to win his approval to stay. It was a desperate gesture to protect their home. Working so hard to protect their family. Sijuan's heart softened. He felt ashamed for still being stuck
Now,
in the
this
past.
might be a little...
That's right. They were a couple, and these two are a married couple. Sijuan didn't know the profound world of a married couple. All right. You can stay here. But it's not for free. He didn't expect anything in return. Squeak. Squeak. Upon Sijuan's approval, the rabbit couple nodded vigorously and ran to a corner of the cave, digging a burrow. Watching the rabbit dig the burrow, Sijuan had a sudden idea. He wondered if they could dig a burrow to get out of here. He didn't thought about it way above because it was there. Rabbit. Squeak. The husband rabbit, busy digging the ground, peeked out at Sijuan's call. Can you dig a tunnel to get out of here? Squeak. The rabbit thought for a moment and shook its head. No. Swish, swish. The rabbit began drawing a picture on the ground. It drew the cave where Sijuan was and started digging deep underneath. And then, whoosh. It poured water from the watering can into the dug hole. The bottom of Sijuan's cave filled with water. Ah. The bottom is all water. Squeak. The rabbit nodded. Okay. Keep doing what you were doing. Squeak. The rabbit went back to digging its burrow. At that moment, beep, beep. The alarm rang. The smartphone battery was at 100%. Considering the discharge rate of the laptop, it seemed like he could recharge it once more. May 16th, 6 a.m. Sijuan's daily routine began. First, he checked the tomato seedlings. Good job, guys. Tea. Next, the green leaves were fully blossomed. There was still no news in the sweet potato field. Sijuan went to the pond, washed his face, and watered the field. And then, snap, snap. He broke off some leaves so the tomato seedlings could get some sunlight. The more he broke the leaves, the thicker and more split the stems became, producing more leaves. At first, there were about 3 leaves per plant, but now there were 8. Will it become chore to break these later? Sijuan dried the torn leaves in the sunlight. The leaves that were already in the sun had now hardened, almost moisture-free. Crunch. Sijuan finished his morning work while eating the freshly torn leaves. Now, after 8 hours, he just had to break the leaves once more and water them to finish the day's work. Sijuan, who had finished his work, sat in his designated seat and stared blankly at the sky. How long had he been staring at the sky? Ugh. Ugh. Goo-woo. Goo-woo. Huh? What's this noise? Sijuan looked in the direction where the noise came from. It was the sound coming from the rabbit couple's burrow. The sound stopped abruptly. What was that? Just as Sijuan was about to stare at the sky again and zone out. Ugh. Ugh. Goo-woo. Goo-woo. The sound was heard again. Listening carefully, it was the sound of panting. No way. These guys. As soon as the rabbit couple made their home, they began breeding activities. Afterward, the breeding activities continued several more times. A few hours later. At 2 p.m., Sijuan got up to do his afternoon work. At that time, peep. Peep. The rabbit couple came out of the burrow happily together, and quickly started doing the farm work Sijuan was about to do. Peep peep. Swoosh. The husband rabbit hummed while watering the crops with a watering can, and bzzz. Snip snip. The wife rabbit accompanied her husband's song by cutting the leaves with scissors. The husband sang and the wife followed. It reminded him of the phrase husband sings, wife follows. However, what bothered Sijuan was something else. What are those things? It turned out that the watering can held by the husband rabbit and the apron worn by the wife rabbit were items. Water kept coming out of the watering can non-stop. And the apron seemed to have a space magic on it, as the wife rabbit took out farming tools like scissors or shovels whenever she needed them. He was a bit envious. They had such equipment. He had to dig and tear with his hands and carry water. Watching the rabbits work made time pass quickly. But soon, he got bored. At that moment, he saw the light passing through the pet bottle, refracting and concentrating into a strong light. Seeing that, an idea came to mind. He remembered a scene from a TV show where survival experts used pet bottles filled with water to start a fire. Should I try to start a fire? It seemed like the well-dried leaves would burn well. All right. Sijuan got up and collected the well-dried leaves. And then, swoosh, swoosh. He tore the leaves thinly to gather them well in the center, so the fire could catch easily. And Sijuan began to focus the light on the dried green onion leaves using the pet bottle filled with water like a magnifying glass. Squeak, squeak. When Sijuan stayed still in the same position for more than 20 minutes, the rabbit couple approached him. They seemed curious about what the farm owner was doing. About 10 minutes passed, and the rabbits started dozing off, seemingly bored. At that moment, smoke started to rise from the finely torn pile of green onion leaves. An ember was created. It's working. Sijuan concentrated even more on shining the light from the pet bottle on the ember. The ember grew stronger, and the smoke became thicker. Hoo! Hoo! Sijuan carefully blew air into the finely torn leaves containing the ember. The rabbit couple woke up from the sound of the blowing and looked at Sijuan. And then, squeak! Squeak! They were astonished to see the smoking green onion leaves. After blowing for a while, the fire started and flames burst out. Hee hee hee. I did it. Squeak. Squeak. The rabbit couple looked at Sijuan with admiring eyes. They didn't have any items that could start a fire among their belongings. The first thing Sijuan did when the fire started was to roast green onions to eat. He just wanted to fill his stomach with something warm. The dried green onions had become too hard to eat, like firewood, so he roasted the ones closest to him. As the surface of the green onion turned black from the roasting, Sijuan lifted it by holding the end. And then, ouch! Hot. Hoo! He placed the blackened green onion on another leaf and peeled off the burnt skin while blowing at his fingers. He lifted the roasted green onion and put the peeled part in his mouth. Hook hook. So sweet. Sijuan's eyes widened at the incredible taste. It was like sugar was running wild in his mouth. An intense sweetness exploded. Sijuan quickly threw a few more green onions into the flames and began eating the roasted green onions hurriedly. Squeak! Seeing Sijuan's reaction, the husband rabbit bravely placed a green onion into the fire. And shortly after, squeak! Squeak! The rabbit couple ate the peeled roasted leeks with emotional expressions. All three of them ate with enthusiasm, getting black smudges on their faces. On the 7th day of being trapped in the tower, Sijuan went to sleep after filling his stomach with warm food for the first time. Beep beep. Beep beep. May 19th, 6 a.m. On the 10th day of the disaster. All right. Sijuan got up energetically today as well. Squeak! Squeak! The rabbit couple, who had woken up first, greeted Sijuan. Yeah. Good morning. Splish splash. Splish splash. Sijuan went to the pond to wash his face and sat down in his spot. Squeak! The white rabbit brought the roasted green onion. Thanks, Sijuan said as he received the food. Munch gulp. Munch gulp. While eating the roasted green onions, Sijuan looked at the field where the crops were planted. The green onions had already been harvested, and the ground was damp. The rabbits, who had woken up early, had already finished their work. On top of that, the white rabbit had prepared a meal. It was so nice that they took care of it themselves. However, there was even less to do in a place where there was already little to do. I need to move around a bit. Today, he decided to transplant the cherry tomatoes that he had put off. It was time to transplant them because if they grew too close together, they wouldn't be able to absorb nutrients properly. Sijuan dug the soil with his hands, made a place to transplant the cherry tomatoes, and, with a small spoon-sized shovel, the husband rabbit carefully scooped and moved one by one. They also moved the 6 new sprouts they had planted later. A total of 58 sprouts were planted in 6 rows of 10 each. Phew! Seeing the neatly planted sprouts in a row brought a sense of pride. Sijuan was proud of doing even small things these days. As soon as Sijuan finished transplanting the cherry tomatoes, he started a new task. This chapter upload daily at novelholt.com. Making torches. He wove several leaves together to make a handle and wrapped the end with finely torn dried leaves hundreds of times. Dried green onion leaves seemed to be suitable for torches as they maintained the fire for a long time. The green onion leaves burned for so long that there was no need to manage the fire separately. At first, it would have been tedious to continue, but now he found pleasure in using his will, body, and effort to create something essential to his life. After investing several hours, he made a torch and an alarm rang to notify it was time to sleep. May 20th, 6 a.m. On the 11th day of the disaster, the morning dawned. All right. Peep. Peep. Right, good morning. As soon as he got up, he greeted the rabbit couple and went to the pond to wash his face. The pond was brighter than yesterday. Sijuan, who had always been uncomfortable with the darkness when washing his face, installed a torch by the pond first. Nice. Hee hee hee. Sijuan looked at the burning torch and brought his face closer to the pond to wash his face. At that moment, splash! A fish suddenly jumped out of the pond and tried to bite Sijuan's face. Ugh! Sijuan hurriedly leaned back. The fishy smell of water from the fish's body brushed past his nose. He barely dodged it. The fish that fell to the ground wriggled to return to the water. What is this? Sijuan, who was flustered, approached the wriggling fish and took a closer look. It had golden stripes on a black background on its body and sharp teeth. He could have had his nose cut off if he was just a little bit late. Sijuan pushed the fish to the opposite side of the pond so it couldn't escape. He then examined the pond. Oh. Inside the pond, several fish of the same species that had just attacked Sijuan were swimming. Why are they here? While Sijuan was thinking about the reason, the fish wriggled to escape back to the pond. I don't have time for this. Sijuan hurriedly caught the fish that had fallen to the ground. On the 11th day of being trapped in the tower, they finally had the chance to eat fish. Visit and read more novel to help us update chapter quickly. Thank you so much. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Report chapter. Novel live reading novel free read books online and free novels online. Contact sitemap privacy and terms of use.
Oh.
Sijuan's hand tightly gripped the fish, which struggled and opened its mouth wide to attack Sijuan. Snap! Fresh teeth flashed, making a sharp sound. Each time, Sijuan held on tighter, fearing that if he lost his grip, he might lose a finger. Sijuan held the fish tightly and ran to the spot below the hole in the ceiling where the fire was. Meanwhile, the fish, which had been fiercely resistant, began to breathe faster, and its body went limp. Upon reaching the fire, Sijuan carefully laid down a single green onion leaf on the ground. He carefully placed the fish on the leaf and covered it with another green onion leaf. And then, whoosh! He poured the green onion leaves to the thickest of the timbers and used them as string, wrapped the fish in 2 pieces of the torn leaves in a cross shape, and tied them together. I hope this tastes amazing. Sijuan carefully placed the fish wrapped in green onion leaves in the center of the fire. And then, he waited. He watched for a long time. Sniff, sniff. Ah, it smells great. The rich, oily scent melted into the rising steam and began to fill the cave. He remembered his childhood. When his mother was preparing a meal, the smell of food would spread from the kitchen and take over the entire house. When he came home after school and the smell filled the house, his mood would lift if it was one of his favorite side dishes. Back then, even the waiting time before eating was happy. Gurgle. A noise interrupted Sijuan's thoughts. He was hungry, but he held back. He was determined to fill his empty stomach with something delicious. Gurgle. Hold on just a bit longer. I'll put something really delicious in you. Sijuan consoled his stomach and patiently waited. He waited for it to be completely cooked. And when the scent became deeper and richer. I can't wait any longer. I can't stand it. Sijuan used the dried, hardened green onion leaves to remove the grilled fish wrapped in palm leaves from the fire. He carefully untied the knot that held the green onion leaves together. Whoosh! When he untied the string and removed the green onion leaves, a dense aroma of fish mixed with the scent of green onion leaves spread. Wow! Sijuan marveled at the sight of the moist, glistening fish. Gulp! Sijuan folded the fish in half, tore off a piece of protruding flesh, and put it in his mouth. It was perfectly cooked. There was no fishy taste, and the chewy texture was felt as soon as he bit into it, with the savory flavor spreading in his mouth the more he chewed. Amazing. Gobble gobble. Sijuan devoured the fish in a frenzy. Huh, I finished it already? Sijuan looked at the fish with only bones left and wore a crestfallen expression. At that moment, peep, peep. A sound of disappointment came from the side. Sijuan wasn't the only one disappointed. Huh? Sijuan looked at the source of the sound, and the rabbit couple was wearing a lost expression as they stared at the fish bones left. No way? No, it couldn't be rabbits eating fish. But on second thought, the rabbit couple preferred to roast and eat the leaves like Sijuan. Do you guys eat meat too? Sijuan asked. Peep. As if to say they also just found out now, the rabbit couple simultaneously turned their heads. They seemed annoyed that Sijuan had eaten it all by himself. Sorry, I didn't know you guys eat meat too. Sijuan scratched his head and got up to go to the pond. He intended to catch a fish. The number of fish in the pond had increased since the last time he saw them. But where are they coming from? As Sijuan examined the pond with a torch, he noticed a small hole about the size of a hand in the corner of the pond. Huh? A fish entered through the hole at that moment. Ah, they're coming in through that hole. It seemed they were attracted to the light of the torch. Sijuan finally figured out where the fish were coming from. Unconsciously, Sijuan brought the torch closer to the pond to take a closer look. Splash. A fish jumped towards the torch, opening its mouth. Puff. Whoosh. Sijuan quickly lifted the torch to avoid the fish. Snap. The fish bit the air. Splash. The fish that failed to hunt returned to the water. What's going on? Sijuan cautiously brought the torch close to the water again. Splash. Splash. The fish jumped up to hunt the torch. Whoosh.
Oh, right. I gotta finish
Sijuan
cleaning the
lifted the
house.
torch to avoid them. Snap.
Whoa. I'm falling
Snap.
asleep here a little bit. Sorry.
Splash. Splash. The fish failed to hunt again and returned to the water. Aha. Sijuan realized what the fish were reacting to. The fish would jump when they saw the torch moving near the surface, thinking it was prey. Now that he knew how to make the fish jump, catching them was easy. Sijuan shook the torch near the pond. Splash. A fish opened its mouth and jumped towards the torch. Here it comes. Sijuan focused on the movement of the fish. And when the fish reached its highest point and was about to fall back down. Now. Splash. Sijuan swung the torch at the rising fish, knocking it out of the pond and onto the ground. The fallen fish writhed to breathe. In the meantime. Whack. Whack. Sijuan sent 2 more fish to the ground. Holding the 3 fish that had stopped breathing, he approached the fire pit. Squeak. Squeak, squeak. The rabbit couple cheered for Sijuan as if they were never upset, sending him admiring gazes. Ahem. Sijuan's shoulders straightened. At that moment, he felt like a hero. Squeak. Squeak. The male rabbit brought some green onion leaves and volunteered to help with the cooking. Rustle. Rustle. Next to them, the female rabbit tore the green onion leaves into small pieces to make strings. It's done. Sijuan spoke as he placed the 3rd fish on the fire. All that was left was to wrap the fish in green onion leaves and tie them up, so the cooking process can be started quickly. And again, they waited happy. On the 11th day of being trapped in the tower, Sijuan and the rabbit couple filled their bellies with fish and went to sleep. Beep, beep, beep. Beep, beep, beep. June 19th, 6 a.m. It was the morning of the 41st day of being trapped in the tower. Let's get moving. Sijuan woke up and approached the pond. However, there was now an additional small pond next to the old one, which hadn't been there before. In order to avoid the fish's attacks, a small faucet-like water stream was connected next to the pond. Sijuan washed his face and fetched water from there. Splish. Splash. Sijuan washed his face and went to the field.
All about a
In the
Saturday
field,
night.
centered around Sijuan's designated rock, there were green onions in the front, cherry tomatoes that had grown to the height of Sijuan's knees on the left, and sprouts of sweet potatoes on the right. Finally, the long-awaited sweet potato sprouts appeared. All the crops Sijuan had planted on the first day of the crisis had safely taken root at the top. I'm proud. A lot had happened in the meantime. On the 32nd day of being trapped in the tower, a blue moon appeared again. With that, Sijuan realized that the blue moon cycle on the floor he was on was 30 days. And a few days ago, in their burrow, Mrs. Rabbit gave birth to 6 babies, and the family grew. Peep. Peep. As the energetic cries of the baby rabbits came from inside the burrow, Daddy Rabbit busily started watering the green onion leaves. I have to prepare breakfast. Seeing the busy rabbit couple, Sijuan wanted to help them. Snap. Snap. He broke off 10 green onion leaves and put them on the fire, and the rest were laid on the ground to dry. Then he approached the pond and waved the torch from side to side over the water. Splash. Splash. The fish that jumped up to hunt the torchlight. Sijuan swung the torch towards them. Thump. Today, luckily, it was a one-hit kill. Flutter, flutter. He covered 2 fish with green onion leaves, tied them with stems, and put them on the fire. In the meantime, he took out the well-cooked green onions and ate them. It's comforting to have something warm inside. After eating the cooked green onions, Sijuan watered the crops and spent some time staring blankly. Sniff, sniff. A delicious smell began to spread. Tap, tap. Sijuan began to cut the onions that tied the fish with the leaves as he took them out of the fire. Just then, the husband rabbit came out of the burrow. Sijuan called the daddy rabbit. Peep. The husband rabbit seemed to be tired from parenting. His response lacked energy. Share this with your wife. Peep. The moved husband rabbit hurriedly took the fish and went into the burrow. However, peep, peep. As the baby rabbits woke up, the rabbit couple could only eat the fish after a while. Beep beep. Beep beep. June 19th, 5 a.m. On the 50th day of the crisis, the smartphone rang the alarm for the last time and died. Fortunately, the rabbits woke up precisely at 5 a.m. and went to bed at 7 p.m. It seemed that there would be no change in the time difference due to the continuous daylight if they followed the rabbits' daily rhythm. You did well. Sijuan put the dead smartphone in his bag with the already dead laptop. At that time, peep, peep. The rabbit couple, who seemed to have become familiar with parenting by now, came out of the burrow and greeted him. Good morning. Swoosh. Swish, swish. While the husband rabbit watered the crops with a watering can and the wife rabbit cut the green onion leaves. Thump. Thump. Sijuan caught fish from the pond. Then holding the caught fish, he went to the fire and wrapped the fish in leaves and put them in the fire. The wife rabbit took out the roasted green onions, beautifully arranged them on the leaves, and handed them to Sijuan before going back into the burrow with her husband. They went inside to prepare breakfast for their babies. Munch. Munch. As he satisfied his hunger by eating the green onions, Sijuan noticed a small yellow flower blooming at the end of a cherry tomato branch. He remembered what he had read on the internet. If there were no rain or wind, pollination there was a great increase in the trade, but Sijuan believed to make sure pollination took place by carefully rubbing the flower over the ground. Please work. Please work. Sijuan pollinated the flower with his bonus part. This chapter upload daily at novelhost.com.
Yay!
Let's get moving. As soon as Sijuan got up, he approached the rock wall of the cave. And swoosh. He used a fishbone to etch a line on the rock wall. Next to it, there were 2 vertical lines and 10 lines above. It had been 61 days since getting trapped in the tower. He had been recording the date like this since the smartphone battery died. It's already been 61 days. Just as Sijuan's mood began to sink, the cave became noisy. Beep. Beep. Baby. As morning came, the baby rabbits came out of the burrow one after another, following their parents. Beep. Beep. The rabbit couple greeted Sijuan in the morning and asked for help. All right. Let's go. Lately, Sijuan occasionally looked after the baby rabbits. It wasn't a big deal, just making sure they didn't go anywhere dangerous. While Sijuan watched the baby rabbits, the husband rabbit watered the field, and the wife rabbit cut the leaves to prepare breakfast. The baby rabbit stayed quiet when given food, so the meal was peaceful. After the meal, the rabbit couple went back into the burrow with their babies. Sijuan washed his face and went to the cherry tomato field. The cherry tomato field had become a flower garden with more and more flowers blooming. and Sijuan lightly shook the branches with cherry tomato flowers. Please work. Please work. Since there were now too many flowers to pollinate one by one, he lightly shook the branches and recited the pollination spell. That's right. Hush. A tiny green cherry, smaller than a bean, appeared between the fallen petals. On the 61st day of being trapped in the tower, the green cherry tomato finally ripened. It was the day before the blue moon. Hello everyone, it's my first time translating, so please let me know in the comments if you notice any mistakes in my translations. Also, I started translating after the comics came out, which are very well drawn, so please check them out too. Comic link, https://realmscans.com/1604223/series/solo-farming-in-the-tower. Visit and read more novel to help us update chapter quickly. Thank you so much. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Report chapter. Novel live reading novel free read books online and free novels online. Contact sitemap privacy and terms of use.
That wasn't fair. I thought it was dead. Okay. Yeah, I mean, don't want no. I don't want nothing. Go away, big Karen. That takes care of that. And that's Poopy Pants taken care of. Go away. Go on. Go eat your mother. You probably already did it. Go eat your brother. Sister. Father. I don't care. Stay away from me. There was a key there. Mm. Wait. Don't want to use healing items this early in the game. Just die right next to your bed. No problem. Now, Hi, everybody. Where did you come? Oh, it's another person. Alright, I'm gonna be right back. be fair, to be fair. I shouldn't be getting myself another cup of coffee. Water. Drinking water. Water. Hmm. Stretch. Mm. There we go.
Looking at the newly transplanted cherry tomatoes, Sijuan also looked at the other cherry tomato trees with a curious mind, wondering if they were any different. Hee, there they are. The space is now occupied by 5 cherry tomato. Sijuan felt pleased, thinking about the many more cherry tomato that would grow in the future.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and
He
start
laughed
getting
with
rid of all
delight,
this grass.
imagining cherry tomatoes filling the
Actually, I
entire
need
field.
to
His mood was too good for such a small thing.
do a few
In the
things.
afternoon, the inside of the cave became busy. Peep. Peep. The rabbit couple began to block the entrance to their burrow. Sijuan realized that the blue moon was about to start by watching the rabbit's behavior. Sijuan hurriedly moved too. To prepare for the monsters that would come, he put out the fire, buried or moved anything that had a smell, and tried his best to erase the scent. And a few hours later, the sunlight turned blue, and Sijuan faced his third blue moon. Roar. Screech. The roars of the monsters could be heard. No matter how many times I hear it, I can't get used to it. Every time he heard the roars, his heart throbbed, and goosebumps rose all over his body. He thought this blue moon would pass without any problem. However, thud, thud. One monster started to roam above the cave where Sijuan was. And sniff, sniff. The red-furred monster began to seriously sniff the scent towards the hole in the ground. Oh no! Did it notice something? Sijuan unknowingly held his breath and just hoped the monster would go away.
That's better.
But sniff, sniff. The monster continued to sniff. How long had it been sniffing? Screech. When a monster's roar was heard from afar. Roar. Thud. Thud. The red-furred monster roared and ran towards the sound. Slap. Slap. Sijuan woke up from the husband rabbit's slaps. Peep. The husband rabbit looked at Sijuan with a worried expression. When did I fall asleep? Did he faint? He had heard that there were cases of fainting when hearing the roar of a strong monster. Tremble. Why is it so cold? His body had been tense when he fainted. Moreover, the temperature was much lower at the end of the cave. Having slept in such a place, his body couldn't be in good shape. It seemed like he caught a cold. Swoosh.
Okay, let's start
Sijuan struggled to approach the wall where he recorded the date and drew a line. And I need a fire. Sijuan, shivering, went to the fireplace.
Start putting
He needed to
stuff
light the fire
together
Tremble.
for
With trembling hands,
self.
Sijuan held a water bottle, directed sunlight towards the dry leaves, and created a spark. 30 minutes later. Phew. Phew. Crackle. Sijuan barely managed to create a spark, lit the fire, and crouched down at the fireplace to roast a green onion. And gobble gobble. He ate the roasted green onion eagerly. All I can do right now is eat well. Sijuan went to the pond and caught 5 fish to cook after eating the green onion and regaining some energy. As Sijuan was fighting off his cold by eating, Pete, the husband rabbit, called Sijuan. What? Pete. Where the husband rabbit was pointing, the cherry tomatoes that were smaller than beans just yesterday had grown to the size of golf balls. But why is the color like this? The cherry tomato is blue. Is it ripe? It couldn't have ripened overnight, but since it was so big, Sijuan touched the cherry tomato. Tap. Huh? The cherry tomato fell off easily as if it was completely ripe. Wow. While Sijuan was marveling at the huge blue cherry tomato, you have achieved the feat of harvesting fruit containing the energy of the blue moon. Transparent blue letters appeared on a window in front of him. Huh? What's this? It's a message window. The tower's manager watches your amazing feat. The tower's manager examines you closely. The tower's manager frowns. Why is he frowning all of a sudden? The tower's manager realizes you are an uninvited guest. The tower's manager wants to hide his mistake. What? A mistake? A mistake? So my coming here was a mistake? Then send me back. The tower's manager considers killing you to destroy the evidence. Excuse me. I don't have to leave. You said I achieved some feats, right? Please spare me. The tower's manager awakens you. You have awakened. Oh. Finally, I have awakened. I decided to forgive him for wanting to kill me. Until now, survival had been the priority, but the reason Sijuan came to the tower was to awaken. Now I don't have to buy a 150 million ticket to awaken, hehehe. Now, just climb the tower. The tower's manager assigns you a job. You have become a tower farmer, F. Huh? Farmer? Job trait, you won't get minor illnesses. Job trait, you'll be friendly with nature. Job trait, you'll gain experience when harvesting crops. Status window. It can't be. There must be something wrong. Sijuan wanted to believe desperately. Sijuan called the status window with all his heart. But Park Sijuan LVU1. Talent, mediocre all-rounder. Stats, strength, 1, stamina, 1, agility, 1, magic, 1. Job, tower farmer, F. Skills, none. This is my status window. Talent determines base stats and stat increases when leveling up. However, Sijuan's talent is mediocre all-rounder, which means just average. There wasn't a single glimpse of hope in the status window. Indeed, lotteries are better when you don't scratch them. That way, you can at least daydream. Sigh. I'm a mediocre all-rounder, and my job is a farmer. What's your job? Tower farmer. It was embarrassing to even think about answering someone with his job. Should I just go back to farming? It seemed difficult to make big money in the tower even if he managed to survive here. Goodbye, Sarang. It seems destiny doesn't allow us to be more than a star and fan. Sijuan decided to remain as Sarang's fan, holding up his tears. Then he looked at blue Sarang in his hand. magic cherry tomato imbued the energy of the blue moon. A cherry tomato grown in the tower, it is delicious as it has absorbed enough nutrients. The energy of the blue moon enhances its flavor even more. Upon consumption, magic power permanently increases by 0.05. Cultivator, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Expiration date, 30 days. Grade E. Huh? It was an item that, albeit slightly, raised one's stats. Maybe I can make some money by selling this later? Just as Sejun began to have new hopes. A quest has been generated. A quest? Quest, offer the fruit containing Blue Moon's energy to the tower's manager. Reward, 1 job skill. If refused, death. What? Just ask for it. Don't make it seem like there's a choice. It wasn't a quest, it was a threat. Did you have to take everything? My dreams, my blue cherry tomatoes. It was unfair, but Sejun had only one choice. Here. Along with Sejun's words, the blue cherry tomato in his hand disappeared. This chapter updates daily at novelhost.com. You have completed the quest. As a reward for completing the quest, you have acquired the job skill, Seed Sowing LVE1. Are you kidding me? Why do you even need a skill for seed sowing? Sejun grumbled and got angry, but after that, the tower's manager said nothing. Sighed. Sejun sighed and checked the skill he received. Job skill, Seed Sowing LVE1. Slightly increases the germination rate when seeds are planted. At least, thanks to the job's characteristic of not being bothered by minor illnesses, the body aches had disappeared. On the 61st day of being trapped in the tower, he awakened and obtained the job of tower farmer. As soon as Sejun opened his eyes, he approached the cave wall. Whoosh! With a fishbone, he completed the 15th line on the wall. It had been 75 days since he came to the cave. Splish. Splash. Sejun washed his face in a small pond and came to his senses. And then, swish swish. Holding a torch in his left hand, he waved it left and right over the large pond.
I really
Splash.
need a wrench.
The fish that spotted the torch jumped up. As he awakened, he could know the names of the fish. The name written above their heads. Piranha. Whack. He struck the piranha with a club in his right hand. The club was made by tying several layers of dried scallion leaves with a rope. Whack. Whack. The piranhas struck by the club flapped vigorously on the ground. In this way, Sejun caught 5 piranhas. The number of piranhas he had to catch increased due to the baby rabbits. A moment later, you have defeated a piranha. You have acquired 2 experience points. When the piranhas could no longer breathe and died, he gained experience points. Since awakening, Sejun could gain experience points. Thanks to this, he reached level 2 already. However, he did not have piranhas rapidly. At this point, survival was much more important than experience points. If the piranha's egg were to run out, both Sejun and the rabbits would be in trouble. So, he caught only as many as he needed. While Sejun was catching piranhas and preparing breakfast, the rabbit couple also started their morning farming. And something had changed. Peep. Peep. The baby rabbits started helping with farming, following their parents. Now they were carrying scallion leaves, trying hard to help. Upon awakening, Sejun was able to learn the identity of the rabbits. The names above the rabbits' heads. Farmer White Rabbit. This was the true identity of the rabbits. He didn't know what had happened to them, but they seemed to have lost their farm, wandered around, and settled here after finding the field Sejun had created. At that moment, a delicious aroma began to fill the air. Before he knew it, the piranha dish was ready. Let's eat breakfast, The hungry baby rabbits quickly dropped the scallion leaves they were carrying and ran over. After eating their fill, the baby rabbits went back to their burrow to take a nap. They were still young and needed a lot of sleep. Alright. Let's start harvesting then. Squeak. Squeak. At Seojin's words, the rabbit couple made a serious expression. Today was a very important day. Let's see. Seojun went to the cherry tomato field and examined the ripe red cherry tomatoes. Good, they're ripe. Pop. Seojun picked a ripe cherry tomato. You have obtained a well-ripened magical cherry tomato. Your occupation experience increases slightly. You have gained 10 experience points. Magical cherry tomato. Magical cherry tomato. A cherry tomato grown inside the tree. It is delicious and full of nutrients. When consumed, it breaks down 10 g of body fat and increases mana by 0.1 for 10 minutes. The effect stacks up to 10 times within an hour. When consumed by a non-awakened person, it breaks down 10 g of body fat and revitalizes the body. Cultivator, Tower Farmer Park Seojun. Expiration date, 30 days. Grade E. Wow. This time, it was an item as well. Moreover, just by eating the magical cherry tomato, it could increase mana up to 1. Thunk. Thunk. Seojun began to harvest the cherry tomatoes diligently. When he accidentally picked an unripe cherry tomato. You have obtained an unripe cherry tomato. Your occupation experience does not increase. You have gained 7 experience points. The experience points were reduced, and the occupation experience did not increase. Moreover, the cherry tomato turned into a regular cherry tomato instead of an item. After that, Seojun carefully harvested the cherry tomatoes. You have obtained a well-ripened magical cherry tomato. Your occupation experience increases slightly. You have gained 10 experience points. You have leveled up. You have obtained 1 bonus stat. By harvesting 53 magical cherry tomato, Seojun leveled up twice as a bonus. Thanks to that, Seojun reached level 4. I'll be translating a few more chapters today, so stay tuned. Visit and read more novel to help us update chapter quickly. Thank you so much. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Report chapter. Novel live reading novel free read books online and free novels online. Contact Sitemap privacy and terms of use.
The baby is being a baby. Is that everyone? Are y'all dead now? Mm. There we go. Quick stretch break. Try to wake up a little bit. You have to set them on the phone sleep here. Alright. Let's try a different routine.
Sejun put the harvested cherry tomatoes in his mouth without even washing them. There was no need to wash them, as there was no fine dust or pollution in this place. With a crunch, as he chewed on the last of the cherry tomato. Splash! The skin of the cherry tomato split, and the juice inside sprayed like a mist in his mouth. It was a perfect harmony of flavors that couldn't be described in words. Bang! Bang! The sour and sweet bombs exploded like fireworks at a festival, alternating and confusing his taste buds. Wow! Only an exclamation came from Sejun's mouth. Without a word, Sejun continued to chew on the cherry tomato and savored the taste until it disappeared. You have consumed a magical cherry tomato. You have broken down 10 g of fat, increasing your magic power by 0.1 for 10 minutes. A message appeared saying that his magic power had increased, but it didn't matter. Sejun put another cherry tomato in his mouth and continued the feast. Squeak! Seeing Sejun's reaction to the cherry tomatoes, the husband rabbit picked up a cherry tomato, tilting his head. Is it that delicious? The cherry tomato was quite big for the rabbit, so it couldn't put it in its mouth in one bite like Sejun. Gulp! So, the rabbit bit into the cherry tomato. Then, the juice began to overflow through the hole in the skin. What a waste of food! Slurp! The husband rabbit, flustered, sucked the cherry tomato juice so it wouldn't spill. Wasting food was a sin. This taste? Slurp, slurp, slurp. The husband rabbit began to suck on the cherry tomato as if he was bewitched. And squeak, squeak. Seeing their father's actions, the baby rabbits each picked up a cherry tomato and started to suck on them. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Slurp, slurp, slurp. For a while, only the slurping sounds could be heard inside the cave. This chapter upload daily at novelholt.com.
No.
The group committed a grave sin by eating cherry tomatoes, excluding the wife rabbit. This sin was particularly concentrated on the husband rabbit. Squeak, squeak. The husband rabbit rubbed his body against his sulking wife rabbit as she prepared dinner, trying to be affectionate. However, the wife rabbit completely ignored her husband's charm and turned her head away. Squeak. The husband rabbit looked at Sejun with a sad expression, asking for help. Hang in there. Sejun, who had never seen a good outcome when getting involved in a couple's quarrel, clenched his fist and showed a fighting pose, refusing to help the husband rabbit. A pleasant mealtime. Lunch consisted of piranha, cherry tomatoes, and grilled green onions. Even though there was only one more menu item, the meal felt much richer. The wife rabbit placed a variety of food on each leaf plate and placed it at everyone's feet. Squeak. The husband rabbit protested quietly to his wife when he saw only grilled green onions on his plate. Squeak. Although he couldn't understand them, it seemed like she said, just eat it. In the end, the husband rabbit failed to calm the wife's anger. Squeak. Poor guy. Sejun secretly gave some of his food to the heartbroken husband rabbit. Squeak. The husband rabbit sent a grateful glance to Sejun and quietly disappeared. And while tearing the flesh stained with piranha thorns in the corner of the cave, Squeak. The husband rabbit met the eyes of his wife rabbit, who approached thinking he was crying. As a couple, they communicated with their eyes. Where did you get that? From Sejun. The husband rabbit pointed at Sejun with his eyes. Traitor. How could you expose that? Shortly after, he didn't know what had happened, but the two rabbits were arguing and causing a scene, glaring at each other. Indeed, Sejun learned once again the lesson that one should not intervene in a couple's fight. After having lunch, Sejun started picking cherry tomatoes again. Fully ripe cherry tomatoes appeared in a few hours. You have acquired well-ripened magical cherry tomatoes. Your job experience increases slightly. You gained 10 experience points. He picked 67 cherry tomatoes in the afternoon. He harvested a little more than in the morning. He leveled up once more to level 5. For the bonus stats, he raised his strength and stamina by 2 each. Strength and stamina are most important for farming. The harvested cherry tomatoes were stored in a storage room he made in a cool corner of the cave. The storage room was made by digging a pit in a cool corner of the cave and laying leaves densely so that dirt wouldn't enter. Sejun transferred the cherry tomatoes into a plastic container and... Squeak. The father rabbit moved 2 cherry tomatoes, carrying them on his side. And then... Squeak. Squeak. The baby rabbits, looking at their father with admiring eyes, carried 1 cherry tomato each and moved them to the storage room. 1, 2, 3, 105. The total harvested cherry tomatoes were 120, but after eating 15, there were 105 left. Seeing the stack of cherry tomatoes, a sense of pride surged again. Hee hee hee. As Sejun chuckled and returned to his spot. Squeak. Squeak. The rabbit couple were pushing the playful young rabbits into their burrows to prepare for the night. Well, another day's work done. Watching the rabbits, Sejun also prepared for bed. Pat pat. He gathered dirt to make a pillow and... Thump. Thump. He pounded the dirt to make a sleeping spot and laid sun-dried leaves on the floor to prevent dirt from coming up. It was a somewhat ergonomic dirt bed with 75 days of know-how. Ah, this is nice. When he lay down on the leaves, he could feel the warmth from the sun-dried leaves. Another well-lived day. Hark Sejun. As he praised himself and tried to wrap up his day. A quest has been issued. Quest. Offer 100 harvested magic cherry tomatoes to the tower manager. Reward, 1 job skill. If refused, death. Sejun angrily sat up. What do they expect me to eat? And at least give a decent reward. Sejun had no expectations for the reward after receiving the seed-sowing job skill. But he couldn't refuse either. I can't die. Here. Sejun offered the magical cherry tomatoes with tears, reluctantly. You have completed the quest. The tower manager is satisfied. As a reward for completing the quest, you have acquired the job skill, Harvesting LVE1. Ah, seriously. Why do I need a skill for harvesting? As expected, there was no answer. He didn't bother to check the skill. Even if there was a slight increase in something, it would only make him angrier. It's only me who loses by getting angry. Sijuan calmed himself down and lay down again. He closed his eyes, planning to sleep, but within a second. Snores. Sijuan fell asleep. No, mighty tomatoes. Even in his dreams, Sijuan tried his best to protect the cherry tomatoes. Yawn. Swoosh. Sijuan, who had just woken up, threw another stick on the cave wall. In front of it, there were 16 line marks. Day 82 of being trapped in the tower had begun. There was a lot to do this morning. He had to harvest cherry tomatoes from the 8 cherry tomato trees he planted later and water the cherry tomato trees he harvested earlier. Especially since he needed to gain experience, cherry tomato harvesting was solely Sijuan's responsibility. Snap. Sijuan picked a slightly green cherry tomato. You have harvested a slightly unripe magic cherry tomato. The effect of harvesting LV1 turns the fruit into its optimal state. Harvesting LV1 proficiency slightly increases. Job experience slightly increases. You have gained 10 experience points. The harvesting skill was more useful than he thought. The skill had the effect of turning slightly underripe or overripe fruits into their optimal state when harvested. Also, the proficiency increased with each harvest. Thanks to the skill, he could harvest crops in their best condition, and even if he harvested underripe cherry tomatoes, he could still gain normal job experience. The harvest was quick since there were only 8 trees. He harvested 50 cherry tomatoes from the trees. Guys, let's eat some cherry tomatoes. Squeak. Squeak. At Sijuan's words, the baby rabbits who were watering the cherry tomato trees rushed over. The baby rabbits, who were already a month and a half old, had grown a lot thanks to eating well, and now they were as tall as the husband rabbit's shoulder. Pop. Slurp, slurp, slurp. The baby rabbits began sucking the juice from the cherry tomatoes. Here you go. Sijuan also handed 1 cherry tomato each to the working rabbit couple. Squeak. Squeak. The rabbit couple bowed their heads in gratitude. Pop. Sijuan also put a cherry tomato in his mouth and bit into it. Crunch. Ah, it's so good. As the sweet and sour taste filled his mouth, he couldn't help but exclaim. Then, the tower manager urges you to complete the quest quickly. I don't want to. I'll do it later. Since Sijuan started harvesting cherry tomatoes, the quests given by the tower manager became increasingly greedy, with the number of cherry tomatoes requested growing constantly. The rewards were not even good. After giving him the harvesting skill, there had been no rewards. It had been 5 days since he started offering cherry tomatoes. A quest has occurred. Quest: offer 500 harvested magical cherry tomatoes to the tower's manager. Reward: none. Refusal: death. As the tower's manager demanded 500 cherry tomatoes, Sijuan's rage gauge reached its maximum. This is crossing the line. 500? He can't endure this every day. I refuse. Sijuan finally released the anger he had bottled up in his chest. His chest felt lighter, but his face turned pale. And he quickly thought of a way to survive. Ah. As long as I don't reject the quest, I should be fine. I'll offer them later. The tower manager is taken aback. That's how Sijuan was rebelling against the tower's manager by postponing the completion of the quest. And the tower's manager is angry that you are eating the magical cherry tomatoes alone. Then I'll offer 5. Occasionally, when the tower's manager was angry, Sijuan would offer a few cherry tomatoes. The manager was still the tower's manager, after all, and it wouldn't do to be too hated. The tower's manager will let it go this time. Sijuan was engaged in this push and pull with the tower's manager. Day 91 of the disaster. The fourth blue moon was approaching. P-E-E. The rabbit couple pushed their baby into the cave and covered the entrance with dirt to prepare for the blue moon. Sijuan also put out the fire and cleared away smelly things to prepare for the blue moon. And this time, he prepared earplugs made from rolled-up leaves and magical cherry tomatoes to avoid passing out. He had heard that having a higher magic power could withstand the monster's roar, so in case a situation like last time occurred, he prepared the magical cherry tomatoes. It would be best if nothing like last time happened. As Sijuan was thinking that, the sunlight turned blue. The blue moon had begun. Soon after, Kia. The roars of monsters excited by the blue moon could be heard from afar. Don't come here. Don't come here. An hour had passed like that, with Sejun silently praying in his heart. Huh? A mysterious phenomenon appeared before Sejuan's eyes. A blue aura began to form on one of the cherry tomato plants. It was the energy of the blue moon. The energy of the blue moon slowly moved along the stem to the cherry tomatoes and was absorbed by them. And then, wow! The cherry tomatoes turned blue. The sight of the blue moon's energy being contained in the cherry tomatoes was mysterious and beautiful. Sijuan witnessed the entire process of the blue moon's energy being absorbed by the cherry tomatoes for the first time. I want to harvest them quickly. Sijuan was eagerly waiting for the blue moon to end. At that moment, he saw the blue energy moving in the sweet potato vines as well. Visit and read more novels to help us update chapter quickly. Thank you so much. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Report chapter. Novel live reading novel 3 books online and 3 novels online. Contact SiteMap privacy and terms of use. SSSSS. The power of the blue moon that had settled on the sweet potato stem went along the stem and into the ground. Was there a sweet potato there? All the sweet potatoes planted this time were for seedlings. The plan was to cut the sweet potato shoots when they grew to a certain extent and plant them. In this way, sweet potatoes could be infinitely reproduced. Although it was farming learned from the internet, there had been no failures so far. I didn't even expect sweet potatoes. Sijuan unknowingly drooled at the thought of eating sweet potatoes. Should I eat it raw? Or grilled? Can I steam it? Sijuan stayed awake until the dawn of the 92nd day of the ordeal, thinking about how to eat the sweet potatoes. Shook. Following his daily routine, he first drew a line on the ground and then moved to the sweet potato field. And then, sack. Sijuan carefully began to the smoky of the blue moon had flowed. Oh dash. He had barely dug a bit of dirt with his hands, and already the head of a blue sweet potato appeared. Sack. Sijuan tried to calm his excited hands, even more carefully removing the dirt around the sweet potato as if he were exploring an archaeological artifact. Soon, Sijuan carefully lifted a fist-sized blue sweet potato from the ground. You have harvested a power sweet potato imbued with the energy of the blue moon. Your job experience increases significantly. Harvesting LV1 proficiency increases greatly. Harvesting LV1 proficiency is filled, and the level increases. You have gained 50 experience points. The job experience and skill proficiency, which had barely increased, rose greatly. On top of that, the skill level also increased. However, none of that was important to Sejuan right now. Sejuan looked at the sweet potato in his hand. Power sweet potato imbued with the energy of the blue moon. A sweet potato grown inside the tower, it is delicious with plenty of nutrients. The taste has been further enhanced by the energy of the blue moon. Permanently increases strength by 0.05 upon consumption. Grower, Power Farmer Park Sejuan. Shelf life, 30 days. Grade 8. The content said that it was already delicious, but now even more so. Sejuan went to the cherry tomato field and also harvested the blue cherry tomatoes imbued with the energy of the blue moon. You have harvested magical cherry tomatoes imbued with the energy of the blue moon. Your job experience increases significantly. Harvesting LV2 proficiency increases quite a bit. You have gained 50 experience points. Perhaps because the harvesting skill had just leveled up, the skill proficiency increase was smaller than before. Hehehe. With a blue sweet potato in his right hand and a blue cherry tomato in his left, he felt like he had the world in his hands. At that moment, an additional quest has been triggered. A message that ruined Sejuan's mood appeared. I knew it. The threat of the extortionist disguised as a quest, always coveting Sejuan's crops, had begun. Quest, offer the Blue Moon energy-infused power sweet potato to the tower's manager. Reward, none. If refused, death. Quest, offer the Blue Moon energy-infused magical cherry tomato to the tower's manager. Reward, none. If refused, death. 2 quests appeared at the same time. Is it more serious this time? Sejuan could tell from the exclamation marks how eager the tower's manager was. What should I do? Refusing could offend the tower's manager and put Sejuan in real danger. However, this time, Sejuan didn't want to give in. So, he decided to complete the remaining quests first to appease the tower's manager. I offer the remaining magical cherry tomatoes. The quest has been completed. Sejuan completed the quest to offer the tower's manager is delighted with the basket full of magical cherry tomatoes. The tower's manager wonders about what's going on. The manager tried to hide their excitement, but their feelings were exposed through the messages. The administrator's personality turned out to be simpler than expected. Sejuan decided not to deal today since the manager seemed to be in a good mood. I'll give you this next time. Sejuan accepted both quests and put them on hold. He didn't want to lose these delicious items as he had lost others before. I should eat too. The tower's manager warns that you must give it to them next time. Although Sejuan was angry at the manager's attitude, as if they were taking a loan, he decided to endure it for today. He didn't want his happiness to be disturbed by such a thing. But what should I do with these? The sweet potato was big enough to share with the rabbits, but the cherry tomatoes were too small. Then there's only one way. Eat quickly and destroy the evidence. Sejuan decided to give the rabbits more magical cherry tomatoes. Sejuan put the blue cherry tomato in his mouth. Pop-do. The skin of the Blue Moon energy-infused cherry tomato was chewy like jelly. And then, Chayak. The cherry tomato juice filled Sejuan's mouth with a tangy sweetness that bounced around. If the magical cherry tomato was a humble local festival, the Blue Moon energy-infused magic cherry tomato was a glamorous city festival. Gulp. You consumed the Blue Moon energy-infused magical cherry tomato. Magic power permanently increased by 0.05. Even after swallowing, the lingering sweet and sour taste in his mouth made him oblivious to the message. Sejuan, who had eaten the blue cherry tomatoes, went to the bonfire. It's a shame that there's no tin foil. Sijuan had a versatile scallion leaf. Kudujuk. He broke the scallion leaf and wrapped the sweet potato in the leaf. And he waited. Hee. Expecting to eat roasted sweet potatoes, he hummed a tune naturally. During the waiting time, he could have caught piranhas or harvested cherry tomatoes, but he didn't do any of that today. It was the first day since coming here that he was going to enjoy roasted sweet potatoes. He carefully tended the bonfire to ensure that the sweet potato didn't burn. Indeed, waiting for something delicious is the happiest thing. How much time has passed? Crack. Crack. As the sound of the scallion leaf firewood popping pleasantly filled the air. Squeak. 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 The rabbit family came out of their burrow. Sniff. Sniff. The rabbits came out of the burrow and, with their eyes closed, were naturally drawn to the fire where the sweet potato was being cooked. Just wait a little bit longer, and I'll let you eat something delicious. Squeak. At Sijuan's words, the baby rabbits cheered. The rabbit couple also happily waited behind, arms folded. After a while, the smell of roasted sweet potatoes began to fill the air. Squeak. Squeak. The baby rabbits started to get anxious, wondering if the sweet potatoes were burning. But Sijuan didn't panic. Timing was important from here on out. If he took the sweet potatoes out too early, only the surface would be cooked. If he took them out too late, the surface would be completely burnt. Sijuan carefully observed and waited for the smell to ripen. And then... now is the time. Sijuan quickly took the sweet potato wrapped in the leaf from the fire. Shush. Shush. He peeled off the burnt leaf. A sweet potato with a slightly burnt skin appeared. Gulp. Sijuan carefully stabbed the sweet potato with a fish bone. Thud. The fish bone smoothly went through the center of the sweet potato. It's perfect. Sijuan grinned and moved the roasted sweet potato onto a clean leaf using the fish bone like chopsticks. Then, he cut the leaf into smaller pieces and began to peel the sweet potato while holding the end. Ouch, it's hot. His hand was hot from peeling, but thinking of the sweet potato he was about to eat, he endured the heat. With each peel, crumbles of sweet potato fell off, sticking to the skin. I'll eat that by myself later. Sijuan secretly gathered the sweet potato peels in one place. However, squeak, squeak. The baby rabbits had already smelled the peels and were eagerly licking and eating the sweet potato crumbs stuck to the skin. Smart little ones. The rabbits' behavior was admirable, as they figured things out without being taught. They turned out to be genius rabbits who knew what to do without instruction. While having the peels taken away by the baby rabbits, Sijuan finished peeling the sweet potato, leaving only the peeled sweet potato. Steam rose. Hee. Looking at the steaming hot yellow flesh of the roasted sweet potato, he couldn't help but smile. Squeak. Squeak. The baby rabbits, who had already cleaned their peels, were demanding more sweet potatoes. Alright. This chapter upload daily at novelhope.com.
No, it doesn't.
Sijuan cut the roasted sweet potato into small pieces and placed them on each rabbit's leaf plate. Since they were sharing the sweet potato, they didn't gain any power from it. However, I don't care. He wanted to share and eat his first harvested crop with his family. As there were many family members, the amount of sweet potato each of them received was not much. At that moment, no. Squeak. As the baby rabbits tried to eat the roasted sweet potato in front of them, Sijuan stopped them, and they looked confused. Let's eat together. Bring your parents over. Squeak. At Sijuan's words, the baby rabbits hurriedly went and brought the rabbit couple as if carrying them. Finally, everyone sat down in front of their leaf plates. Let's eat. Squeak. Spit. Squeak. Spit. Squeak. Spit. The rabbits put the roasted sweet potatoes in their mouths and spat them out in a hurry. It seemed that they didn't realize that the sweet potatoes were still hot, probably because there was no steam. Hee hee, you need to cool them down. Hoo hoo. Sijuan showed them how to blow on the roasted sweet potatoes to cool them down. Hoo hoo. Hoo hoo. Puff puff. The rabbits also followed Sijuan and blew on the sweet potatoes to cool them down. Shall we try eating now? Squeak. Sijuan took a big bite of the roasted sweet potato, and the sweet taste with the hot steam spread throughout his mouth. As expected, the inside of the sweet potato was still hot. However, Sijuan had a special skill. Puff, puff. Sijuan rolled the sweet potato in his mouth, cooling it down with the air inside. Of course, the downside was that it looked a bit unappealing. Sijuan carefully chewed the cooled down sweet potato. Squishy. The soft sweet potato crumbled even before Sijuan could bite into it. And finally, the long-awaited sweetness exploded. It felt like a burst of sunshine in his mouth. It's delicious. Of course, it would have been nice to have a collaboration with Milk and Kinky, but it wasn't lacking without them. The late Apple CEO also said, "Simple is best." Rather, without any other distractions, Sijuan could focus on the pure sweetness of the sweet potato. The sweet potato confidently competed with just its sweetness, but it was never boring or tiring. It was a good competitor to five-star cuisine. Sijuan ate the sweet potato down to the peel without realizing it. I won't tolerate any disrespect towards sweet potatoes as a mere root vegetable. Sweet potatoes are good competitors. Sijuan got up from his seat with random thoughts in his head. At that moment, gurgle. His stomach made a noise. Why? He felt like he had eaten a lot, but his stomach was acting as if it was empty. Ah. Upon reflection, all he had eaten for breakfast was one cherry tomato and a bit of roasted sweet potato. It was natural to be hungry. Squeak. Squeak. The baby rabbits began to whine with hunger. Plop plop. The rabbit couple quickly broke some leaves and roasted them on the fire, preparing breakfast. And then, just wait a little bit. Sijuan went to the storage and got cherry tomatoes to give one to each baby rabbit and ran to the pond to catch piranhas. Chomp chomp. Chomp chomp. Thanks to the cherry tomatoes, the baby rabbits became quiet. Thus, the fourth blue moon passed without any major incidents. Visit and read more novel to help us update chapter quickly. Thank you so much. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Report chapter. Novel Live reading novel free read books online and free novels online. Contact sitemap privacy and terms of use. Morning of the 95th day of distress. Listen carefully, everyone. Beep. Bay bay. Bay. From today, we'll plant sweet potato shoots. Sijuan made a significant of the rabbits eating breakfast. They They. The baby rabbits were greatly disappointed by Sijuan's significant announcement. Sweet potato shoots were one of the baby rabbit's favorite snacks lately. And that was also the reason why Sijuan had to plant sweet potato shoots quickly. If left alone, the sweet potato shoots would disappear soon. Although sweet potato shoots grow quickly and there's no need to worry, planting them today would mean harvesting the sweet potatoes sooner. Instead, we'll have roasted sweet potatoes tonight. Peep. Bay-ya. Bay-yi. All the rabbits were excited about the roasted sweet potatoes. Shoot. Sijuan also checked the soil around the planted sweet potatoes and found that the sweet potatoes were spaced apart. Of course, they didn't harvest them immediately. There was a looter targeting the sweet potatoes, watching carefully. He found out about it on the day of the fourth blue moon lunch. Sijuan wanted to eat cherry tomatoes differently than usual. That's when he remembered grilling oranges for pineapples on TV. So he decided to grill cherry tomatoes. Cherry tomatoes will work, right? Even if it doesn't, it won't be inedible. Sijuan made a skewer with dried straw and started grilling 3 cherry tomatoes on it. The tower a sudden message appeared. Huh? There was no reply after that, but Sijuan learned that the tower manager occasionally watched him. And the grilled cherry tomatoes were incredibly delicious, as their sweetness was enhanced by the fire, just as it was on TV. All right. Move. Move. After breakfast, Sijuan and the rabbits started moving busily. They had to finish the daily morning tasks of cutting the straw, watering the crops, pollinating the cherry tomato flowers, and harvesting before planting the sweet potato shoots in the afternoon. The rabbits scattered to do their assigned tasks. Swoosh. The male rabbit watered the crops with an endless supply of water from the watering can. Snap. Snap. The female rabbit started cutting the wool with scissors. Quickly, one straw. I'm going to keep growing it. Sijuan told the female rabbit. He was planning to let the green onion flower bloom and collect its seeds. Peep. The female rabbit nodded at Sijuan's words. Until now, there was no need to collect seeds as the green onions grew well, but the roots did not become items when harvested. Sijuan thought it was because they hadn't planted seeds, so he decided to grow green onions from seeds. Peep. The baby rabbits played by hanging on the cherry tomato tree and climbing it diligently. It looked like they were playing, but it was work in its own way. When the baby rabbits climbed the tree, the cherry tomato flowers shook, and the pollen naturally scattered, allowing pollination to occur. The rabbits worked in their respective positions while Sijuan harvested cherry tomatoes. Pluck. Pluck. You have harvested well-ripened magical cherry tomatoes. Your harvesting LV2 skill proficiency has increased slightly. Your job experience points have increased slightly. You have gained 10 experience points. You have leveled up. You have gained 1 bonus stat point. Sijuan had reached level 8 before he knew it. Not only did he feel full just from gaining experience points, but his level also increased. Hee hee hee. How rewarding. Sijuan raised his health with the bonus stat point and put more effort into harvesting cherry tomatoes. Pluck. 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 Then, your job experience points have reached the maximum. Your tower farmer, F, rank has increased. You have become a tower farmer, E. As your job rank increases, your job characteristics are strengthened. Oh. Farming is indeed rewarding. As he worked, more and more things kept coming to him. Sijuan's steps grew lighter as he harvested cherry tomatoes. Alright. Let's get started. After finishing their morning task and eating a simple lunch, the team began planting sweet potatoes. They divided the work again. Squeak. Squeal. The baby rabbits lined up next to the mother rabbit. Snip. Snip. As the mother rabbit cut the sweet potato shoots, the baby rabbits carried them to the newly made field. Then, Sijuan planted the sweet potato shoots one by one in the long, narrow holes he had dug at regular intervals. Stomp. Stomp. He put the sweet potato shoot in the hole and stamped the surrounding soil to finish planting. Swoosh. The father rabbit gathered the plants to complete the planting. Even though they had many rows, it took longer than expected to plant the sweet potato shoots because there were so many. They planted 300, but still had a third of the shoots left. Let's take a break. At Sijuan's command, the rabbits began to sip juice from cold cherry tomatoes that had been dipped in a small pond. I'm jealous. Crunch. Sijuan chewed on the cold cherry tomato, enviously watching the rabbits drink the cherry tomato juice like a beverage. Taking a break while watching the rabbits, Sijuan got up from his spot and approached the sweet potato field where the shoots had been cut. Then, pat, pat. He started digging up sweet potatoes, brushing away the soil with his hands. It would have been nice to have a hoe. He regretted not having any farming tools. You have harvested power sweet potatoes. Your job experience points have increased slightly. Your harvesting LV 2 skill proficiency has increased to level 1. You have gained 10 experience points. Wow. There are so many. Sijuan looked proudly at the harvested sweet potatoes. In total, he had harvested 15 sweet potatoes. For each sweet potato planted, he harvested about 5 sweet potatoes. Although the number was small, the potatoes were thick. Sijuan examined one sweet potato. Power sweet potato. A sweet potato grown inside the tower. It's delicious and full of nutrients. Upon consumption, it breaks down 10 g of fat in the body and increases strength by 0.1 to 10 minutes. A maximum of 10 effects can be applied within 1 hour. When a non-awakened being consumes it, it breaks down 10 g of fat and can Cultivator, Power Farmer Park Sejun. Expiration date, 30 days. Grade E. If I could take this outside, my mom would love it. Sejun often saw his mother struggling to go to the bathroom due to constipation. He briefly thought of his home and moved the sweet potatoes. He had to hide them before the plunderer saw them. In a cool corner of the cave, he laid down some straw, placed 8 sweet potatoes in a row, and covered them again with straw. They won't be able to see them like this. He moved the remaining 7 sweet potatoes to the fire and by the time the work was finished, the roasted sweet potatoes would be ready. At that moment, thud. Something that was stuck to Sejun's clothes fell off. It's a sweet potato sprout. It must have come along while moving the sweet potatoes. Sejun picked up the sweet potato sprout, dug a hole in the field, and carefully planted it in the field. He didn't know how many sweet potatoes this one sprout would produce. Grow big and strong. When he carefully planted it and watered it, you planted a sweet potato sprout. The probability of the sweet potato sprout taking root increases due to the effect of seed sowing LV1. Seed sowing LV1's proficiency increases slightly. So this is also considered seed sowing? Sejun fell into thought for a moment. To raise the level of seed sowing, he had to plant it himself. Sighed then. I have to do it all. After the break, the workload for Sejun became much easier as he did the entire process of planting sweet potato sprouts by himself, and the baby rabbits just brought the sprouts to the holes he had dug. Sniff, sniff. Instead, the baby rabbits were given the task of periodically monitoring whether the roasted sweet potatoes in the fire were burning. When Sejun finished planting all the remaining sweet potato sprouts, peep, peep. The baby rabbits started crying out that there was a burning smell. Is this how it's done? The giant black dragon crouched in front of the fire, looking at the 30 charcoal black cherry tomatoes skewered on the rapier, which looked almost like a skewer. The color was very different from what that human made. Let's just eat it. I won't die. No poison could kill him, the all-powerful being. The dragon hooked the rapier on his teeth and pulled it hard. Slurp. The peel, which had almost turned into charcoal, rolled into the dragon's mouth. Chew, chew. Ew. Contrary to his expectation, an extremely bitter taste arose. Chew. The dragon quickly spat out. He couldn't waste his taste buds on something so tasteless. It's bitter. What went wrong? That human ate it happily. As the dragon wondered what was different from the human he observed. Huh? As the bitter taste subsided, a rich flavor rose from the original cherry tomatoes he felt in his mouth. A new taste appeared. Oh. This is the taste. I need to peel it and eat it. Having gained a great realization, the dragon once again burned the cherry tomato to a crisp and barely managed to peel off its skin using its claws, whining all the while. It would be more accurate to say that it simply crushed the cherry tomato and drank its juice. Slurp. Delicious. So good. The dragon licked the cherry tomato juice off its claws and exclaimed in delight. Having learned a new way to cook, the dragon proudly sat in front of the large crystal ball and began its hobby. What is this human doing? Originally, the crystal ball was a tool for the tower's manager to check if the tower was running smoothly, but now it was being used for entertainment purposes. The scene in the crystal ball began to show a cave where Sijuan and the rabbits were eating dinner. Ah, these guys. Eating roasted sweet potatoes without considering the great black dragon, Aelin Pratani. Black dragon Aelin Pratani was excited. Ho. Ho. The rabbits diligently blew on the roasted sweet potatoes to cool them down and delicious meal happily. Wang. Sijuan also took a big bite of the cooled roasted sweet potato. As expected, it's even more delicious after working hard. Sijuan felt the sweetness filling his mouth as he ate the sweet potato. At that moment, an additional quest has been generated. This chapter upload daily at novelhope.com. I wondered why it was so quiet. Quest, offer 1 roasted power sweet potato to the tower's manager. Reward, none. Refusal, death. It seemed that the tower's manager was indeed watching. There's just 1 roasted sweet potato left in front of me now. Again, there was no reward. I guess I'll have to give it. Sijuan decided to put the quest on hold. And when he reached out to eat the roasted sweet potato, the tower's manager urges you to offer the roasted sweet potato quickly. The tower's manager says they won't be able to stand it if you don't give them the roasted sweet potato today. The tower's manager's strong obsession was felt. It's going to be hard to pass this time. Sijuan decided to give the roasted sweet potato. Is there nothing you can give me as a reward? Instead, he changed direction and asked for a legitimate reward since he had to give it anyway. The tower's manager is flustered. Flustered? Why would asking for a reward be flustering? Then, the tower's manager changes the quest. Quest, offer 1 roasted power sweet potato to the tower's manager. Reward, 1 job skill. Refusal, death. Another job skill? Although he wasn't completely satisfied, he decided to be content with having negotiated a reward. I will offer you the roasted sweet potato. He didn't have any expectations for the reward. It's probably skills like cutting grass, watering, stuff like that. You have completed the quest. As a reward for completing the quest, you have acquired the job skill, Seed Shop LVE1. Visit and read more novel to help us update chapters quickly. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Previous
right.
chapter.
So,
Next chapter.
Huh.
Report chapter. Novel Live reading novel free read books online and free novels online.
Yay!
Contact sitemap privacy and terms of use.
Am I even recording? Yes. Yes, I am even recording. Good. What was I doing? Right. Getting coffee. Let me turn it on. Not yet. Okay. No. Add water? No. Clean up a mess? Sure. Well, they're gone. However, I'm gonna go see what kind of job they did. So, I'm gonna put you on Be Right Back. And I'll be right back. Alrighty. Well, at least it doesn't look like anything's slipping. So, I mean, improvement, if only. Alright. I'm gonna add some premix this time. See if that'll help the acid or whatever it is from. As soon as I'm adding cream, I'm going to add less sugar. Perfect. Perfect coffee every time. Get yourself a Walden barista at a store near you. Alright. How many hours have I been going so far? Only 2.5. That's not too bad. Coffee. It's pretty good. Not as hot as I like it, but hey. That's upset. Mm. Alright. Right. I gotta switch to. There we go.
seed shop? A shop is a place to sell items. Sijuan, who has lived in a capitalist society, is very familiar with it. He felt excited inside. Sijuan quickly checked the skill. Job skill, Seed Shop LVU1. When used, the skill is activated, and you can purchase items from the seed shop once every 30
After that
days.
again.
Purchasing something.
Actually, you know
Although
what?
it's
Let's
only
take a break
once every
from
30 days,
7 days.
Sijuan was happy just to be able to shop. Finally, on the 95th day of the ordeal, he could shop. Seed Shop. Sijuan used the Seed Shop skill. Seed Shop LVO1 is activated. We will check your transaction history at the Seed Shop.
Let's go
Transaction
with...
history? There is no transaction history in your Seed Shop. Of course, there isn't. There's no history since he never made a transaction. We will provide a new member offer for you. Congratulations on becoming a new member. You've received 1 tower coin to make purchases at the Seed Shop. Oh. Tower
Let's play
coin?
Octopath Traveler for a little while.
Tower coin is a currency used inside the tower. The exchange rate for 1
Ooh,
tower coin is
this
about
one's got voice
1,001
acting. Ah!
Korean currency outside.
I can do a little
We're
voice
just
acting.
giving away
Yay!
such tower coins. Sijuan's heart pounded. 1
Ooh,
tower coin
and
will
this
be
also has a
deposited
good
into your seed
soundtrack
bank account.
too.
It seemed that there was also a
But I
secret.
don't hear any of that.
The seed
so.
shop is open. 3 types of seeds are randomly displayed for newcomers.
Maybe I can fix
Huh.
that.
It was different from the regular shop.
that's incorrect. Because now I have reason to download this and see if it is just the thing or if it's my screen in total. Okay, there we go. Take it. Of course, that being said, it's going to take a while for it to fully download and all that happy horse shit. So, until then, honestly, it doesn't matter if I play with 11. Alright, put that I have. Now I can hear it. And I don't want to come through both the speaker and the system. So how do I fix that? Headphone? I don't want to wear headphones. I guess it's fine the way it is right now, isn't it? Alright. I might have to figure out a different spot for my camera to be. I usually go with Tressa first here. Because she has the ability to get a lot of money in the beginning. But, hear me out. She can't run away from her. Crap. And I need the ability to run away. Whoa. If I'm gonna use her ability, bless me. I apologize. I don't have a... I should have a hotkey for mute button. Let's fix that immediately. Hotkey mute. 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 At least for now. Either something bit me, or there was a mosquito in the room. Something bit. Because my toe is itchy as hell. Could have been today? Maybe. I'm gonna have to do something about that. That is itchy as hell. I'm gonna end up itching it until it's open. I need a distraction. That works better than I thought it did. Okay. Right. Okay, so that's installed. Now here's the question. Do I want to continue on Xbox, or do I want to go to my PC and see if the Flutter continues? What do you think? Hmm? Hmm? No? Anybody? We're gonna try it. Also, I want to get this started so that I can eventually figure out how to do other games on here as well. Gee. Okay. Okay, so let's go for you, add a source, window capture. This one's gonna be Octopath. Yeah, source. Window is. Ooh. Now, it's having the same problem. There's a slight flutter. I thought it might just be, but no, there's a slight flutter. Huh. question then becomes, which platform do I want to play more on? Do I want to play on the Xbox or do I want to play on my computer? Yeah, that's doing that on the screen. Which means that it's a settings issue for the screen, but I don't know how to fix that. Okay, so I've got to restart in order to see if this fixes anything, and I'll be back shortly.